Okay, in this lesson we're going to learn an algorithm for dividing polynomials, meaning dividing one polynomial by another. There's two ways of doing it in most textbooks, and in most courses they teach both. I prefer the long division, and that's the one I'm going to be using for the rest of, we're going to use this division in the next couple of lessons as well with the remainder theorem, etc. But I'm going to be using the long division. But in this video, I will show you how to do it long division, and then we will look at how to use the synthetic division method. They give you the same answer, but I find the synthetic division a little harder to use the answer once you have finished. So we're going to start with long division, and before I start with the long division, I'm going to do, I guess up in this corner, I'm going to do a really easy long division, because way back in like 4th grade you learned long division algorithm, and it's very similar. So I'm going to say, what if I had 211 and I wanted to divide it by 5? So if I was to do this back in like the 4th grade, I would use this kind of a division sign, and I would put 211 divided by 5. To reach way back in your memory for this. And then you're going to say, okay, I'm going to see how many times does 5 go into 2? Well, it doesn't, so I have to go to the next one. How many times does 5 go into 21? And I say, oh, it goes, well, 4 would be the closest. 4 times 5 is 20. So I put the 4 up, and then I multiply the 4 by 5, and I get 20. And then I subtract. And 21 subtract 20, it gives me 1. And then I bring down the next number, 1. And I say, how many times does 5 go into 11? Well, it goes 2 times to get to 10, and then I subtract, and I get 1. So this didn't divide evenly. I got 42 with a remainder of 1. So we're going to use the same basic algorithm, slightly different with these x's and things, because I'm taking this bigger polynomial and dividing it by that one, the linear one. So I'm going to start by writing it like this. I'm going to put the big long one under here, x cubed minus 2x squared plus 8x plus 8 divided by x plus 2. And I'm going to start by, 5 went into 21, I'm going to take my x. I'm just going to take my x and see how many times would it go, what do I have to multiply x by to get x cubed exactly? And I say, well, x squared. So I'm going to put x squared up here. And then, like before, I'm going to multiply x squared, but not only by the x, but also by the 2. So it's going to be x cubed plus 2x squared. And just like over here, then I'm going to subtract. And I got x cubed to be the same, so it'll subtract and give you 0. And then I'll go, this is where you have to be very careful, negative 2, subtract a positive 2. So that ends up being a negative 4x squared. And then just like before, I had to bring down the next number. I'm going to bring down my next term, which is a positive x. And I'm going to repeat. What would I multiply x by to get negative 4x squared? And the answer is negative 4x. So then I multiply it and I get negative 4x squared. Negative 4x times a plus 2 is negative 8x. And then I subtract. And this will disappear. Even though they're negative, it becomes a positive, and that becomes 0. 1 subtract a negative 8 is a positive 9x, and then I'm going to bring down my next term, plus 8. What do I multiply x by to get 9x? It's plus 9, 9x. And then 2 times 9 is 18. And subtract, and now because I've already brought down my last term, when I subtract this time, it's going to be my remainder, negative 10. So it didn't divide evenly, just like this one didn't divide evenly. So now what I want to talk to you about is the division statement. Because when we divide, we're dividing, we know that we can always work backwards to get multiplication. So what I mean by that is, in this case, when I divided 211 by 5 and I got 42 with the remainder 1, that meant I could write, oh, that means 211 would be equal to, is if I multiplied those two together, 5 times 42, but it didn't go equally. I also had this remainder 1, which I then had to add on. And that's what we call a division statement, where we're just writing the results of our division. So same thing here. I'm going to say, okay, this big thing that we divided by, x cubed minus 2x squared plus x plus 8, is equal to x plus 2 times x squared minus 4x plus 9, and then add on my remainder, which in this case plus a negative 10, so it's minus 10. Now, every part of the division has a name. So the answer that we got when we divided, the answer we get is called the quotient. You've probably heard that word before. The answer you get when you divide is the quotient. The thing we divide by is called the divisor. And the thing that we are dividing, this big one that's underneath here, we call the dividend. So the dividend, this thing we're dividing, is always equal to the quotient times the divisor, plus the remainder, which we always remember the name of that thing. Okay, so that is our division statement and our division using long division. Okay, now we're going to do the exact same question, except we're going to use synthetic division. Okay, so with some synthetic division, we go to our divisor, which is this part, and we say, we're going to find what we call k. K is going to be equal to the opposite sign of the number that is our divisor. So in this case, negative 2. If this had been x minus 3 here, then k would have been a positive 3. So this is the part I don't really like about synthetic division, is that you start flipping the signs back and forth. It gets confusing. Okay, and we're not going to use quite the same symbol. We're going to put a chart like this. And over here we're going to put our k. Our k is negative 2. And in here on the top row, we're going to write the coefficients of our dividend, this big one that we had up here. So in this case, it's going to be 1, negative 2, 1, and 8. Now, with synthetic division, it's quite different from long division. We start by moving down a term. So we move down the first term, and then we multiply. So negative 2 times 1 gives us negative 2, and we put the answer right there. And then we add. Instead of subtracting, we add. So that's negative 2 plus a negative 2 is negative 4. And then we take our negative 2 and we multiply it by the negative 4, and we get positive 8, and we put that answer up here. And then we add, and that becomes 9. And then we do it one last time. Negative 2 times 9, which is negative 18. Then we add, and we get negative 10. So now that we're done, like that was a little bit easier procedure to write, but now we have to then translate it back into the x's that it was to begin with. This number will always be your remainder, which, if you notice, or if you may have noticed, is the same as what we got above. So our answer then, when we take these two and we divide them, the answer, or the quotient, the part on the top, is going to be 1x squared minus 4x plus 9. That's the quotient. And it's equal to this, plus negative 10, or subtract 10. So if we want to write the division statement, we would say, okay, our divisor, which was this one, x plus 2, times the quotient, which was this one, x squared minus 4x plus 9, plus the remainder, which is minus 10, is equal to our dividend, which is that thing there, the big one, x cubed minus 2x squared plus x plus 8.